Hello. Welcome. I'd like to first of all say sorry. Got a bit of a head cold, so it's gonna be a short one this week, just because yeah, feeling less than ideal. But I'd like to welcome all 500 people here. So this week I'm going to do a little bit of story time of dyslexic travel stories in celebration of 500 people being here, you bloody legends. And share a little bit of what next week is gonna look like, because it'll be back to normal travel shenanigans and less of me talking crap. So first things first, welcome 500 subscribers and travel enthusiasts. It's very exciting. It's sometimes difficult to find like-minded people and travelers who are looking to learn about culture, and so I'm so happy we've made it to this point. And maybe 500 people on YouTube doesn't seem like that much, but when you think about it, in a small room, 500 people is a lot. And yeah, it's been amazing to already hear a lot of your stories and ideas and thoughts in the comments. It's really very nice to learn from you guys, and I can't wait to keep learning, so thank you. Right up, let's get to the story. So I'm only gonna tell one story just because there's too many to tell, I guess, but or maybe I'll tell two. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, I am incredibly dyslexic. Throughout my education, every day was just battling it out, trying to figure out different ways to get around my learning disability. And for a lot of my earlier years, it was something that hindered my travels. I still did a fair amount with my family or visiting cousins overseas, but never really stepped out of my comfort zone. Or I guess I was always out of my comfort zone, so I never pushed it any further. I'm gonna start with something that's very basic that a lot of people, I guess, don't really think about. And that's ordering food from a menu. A lot of the times I can't read it. Even if it's translated into English, I can't read it. So in English-speaking countries, I have a lot of issues with that. But especially when you go into a foreign country and it's translated, and usually it's translated a bit poorly, I never know what I'm getting. I usually just point to something with the fear of embarrassment from pronouncing a simple word completely wrong just because I can't read it. So anyway, I was traveling through Korea, and one of my best friends, he's Korean, and he used to translate a lot of things for me. I'd send him a text and he'd just send me a voice message of what it actually was. English or Korean, didn't really matter. So I was exploring. I went into a restaurant. It was the only one that was open, and I was starving because I hadn't been able to eat all day, and I couldn't reach him on the phone, which is fair enough. He's not there at my beck and call to translate menus for me. And so I went in and I started talking to the ladies. And by talking, I mean gesturing like you do when you don't speak each other's language. And they recommended a dish for me. It had English there, so English was written underneath all of the Korean. But I couldn't read it, and so they brought me out a dish that they recommended, and it was cowhead. And I love trying new foods, but when you're starving and you end up eating something very different, sometimes it's not what you need. And so I ended up eating cowhead, which was not necessarily to my liking. I don't really like eating cartilage that much. I just don't like the flavor or the texture very much, and so I ended up eating that. And that is a constant story that happens to me, is me eating very random things just because I can't read the menu. Right, tell another story, maybe a little bit more, don't know. I was traveling with my mom, and she's a seasoned traveler, but yeah, we divvied up the role. Oh, careful. Okay, bye. Anyway, we divvied up the roles of who was doing what, and I was on getting visas for us to go into Turkey. And everything was fine. I actually had several visas to get, and most of them were fine. So I did our Turkey visa, all good. And then we were going to Vietnam, and I did the visa for that, which was the first country we were entering, actually. And when we got there, I had spelled her name wrong. My mom's name wrong, yes. Her name is Beth, and I put Bath. When we got to the customs desk, they didn't think that was very funny, as you can imagine. In a communist country, they were not too pleased with my mistake. Even at this point, I had no idea what was wrong. They kept pointing at the name. My mom kind of caught on, obviously. She can read her own name. However, I had no idea. I was just like, what's going on? So we were put into another line, and they were so good to us. They let us just pay an extra fee to change the visa, but that is another thing that I really struggle with, but spelling my own name wrong for that matter. But yes, I'm no longer in charge of getting visas, as it's a more important step of traveling. And I'm made fun of for it all the time now. Luckily, my family's got a pretty good sense of humor in that sense, and over the years I've been desensitized to my learning disability, but yes, traveling as a dyslexic is not always easy. The simple things become way harder, and yeah, I thought for this celebration, I'd share some of the less talked about parts of travel, and parts of travel for myself, for that matter, as most of my friends know, and most people who read what I write online would probably either think I'm not a non-English speaker or know that I'm dyslexic as it is, because I don't have the ability to check over my own writing to see if I've spelled things wrong. So there's a little insight to me for this celebration of 500 people in this amazing space. Anyway, I'm gonna go and try and get better now, so you don't have to listen to this nasally chat next week. But yeah, here's a sneak peek of what's gonna happen as well. So yeah, thanks for being here, and see you next time.